Pikmin Crash Landing, a original creepypasta story. Hi, I have not told anyone about my experience, so I figure I should make a blog about it since something could happen to me, as I'm facing major depression due to family problems and think about suicide. It was a cold day in October of 2012 when I decided I should go out and get myself a GameCube, as I wanted to take my mind off things because this is when my family problems started. I dove deeper into depression. I went to my local Game Escape in my town. Game Escape was the place to get old games. Once I had arrived, the clerk greeted me with a smile, as the employees were very nice. I looked around the GameCube games and found a copy of Pikmin. I walked over to the clerk and said, "I would like to buy this game." She said it would be $6. Asked, "Do you have any GameCube?" She replied, "We have one in his mint edition." I asked how much for it, and she said, since it's in mint condition, it is $99. I gave her $110, and she handed over the GameCube and Pikmin game and said, "Have a nice day," and I left. When I got home, I plugged the GameCube into my TV and put the Pikmin disc. Yes, Mom! And put the Pikmin disc inside the GameCube and hit the power button, and the screen started off with the GameCube logo. Then cut to the main menu. As I could play and started to watch the beginning cutscene. Everything was normal until towards the end of the cutscene when Ormar crash landed and saw the red Pikmin pod. I saw a black Pikmin peeking out of the forest, and it wasn't a rock Pikmin. It was a completely black Pikmin with yellow eyes. I came to play the game, and when the evening came, I started to go back to the ship when I saw another black Pikmin for a few seconds before it disappeared back into the forest. I kept wondering, I kept wondering what it was, but shrugged it off as it was a graphical bug and moved toward the ship once again. When I got to the ship, I felt uncomfortable as if someone was watching me. The ship flying off, cutscene played, and I saw it again. A black Pikmin standing there looking up at the ship. I shut the GameCube off for the day and went to bed. I woke up, made breakfast, and got back to the game. I still had a feeling from last night as if someone was watching me. I shrugged it off as I was just being paranoid. When I got back to the game, I was still in the forest at nighttime. I was confused by this as two things were wrong. I had no time counter and I had no Pikmin. I started to get nervous as it was going to happen. When I got back to the ship, it was on fire, and only a few chunks of it remained. I figured Omar had crash landed back on the planet and was stuck. I heard rustling as if something was in the trees, watching me. All of a sudden, 12 black Pikmin jumped from the trees and surrounded me. They all had yellow eyes and didn't look very friendly. Then all of them lowered their heads and they had silver flowers on them. Then the silver flowers started spinning really fast, and moved closer and closer to Captain Olimar. Captain Olimar trembled in fear. I fell on his knee. I fell on his knees, crying as the black pigman moved closer, closer. Captain Olimar kept screaming, "No, God, please, no!" And when the black pigman reached him, he was torn to bits. Chunks of flesh and organs splattered over the ground as the black pigman continued to move forward. I let me jump up from my chair and race toward the GameCube to shut it off, but something froze me. I was looking at the GameCube, then my head slowly moved towards the screen. I tried to pull away, but it was like I was in a trace, forced to look at the gruesome scene. The black pigman stood there, laughing as the only non-chopped piece of Olimar's body was his head. Looking straight at me, looking straight at me. Suddenly, I broke free from the trance and fell to the floor, and reached to my GameCube and shut it off. A few days later, I destroyed the game, so no one could have ever experienced what I experienced. I later brought Super Smash Bros. Melee and went through the campaign. Whatever I played on the other stage through, I sometimes see the black Pikmin pop out in the background, laughing. So that was Pikmin Crash Landing, a pretty short creepypasta, and it's pretty much a good one. No hyper realistic blood, no the characters with like blood on their covered, pretty much coming out of their eye sockets, and many others. Just a typical pretty dark story, you know. Especially the black Pikmin part. They gotta I can imagine how scared it will be if they're in the game, in the actual game. So thank goodness that Mushroom Pikmin didn't come back in the second and third game because especially that one mushroom enemy in the first game because it'll be freaking hell to deal with it again about even about your Pikmin just betraying you and just freaking attacking you. So yeah, so I have nothing to say. It's a pretty good and short creepypasta story, so yeah. And I hope you guys have a pretty good day and see you for more videos. So bye bye.